When I realized this, I immediately changed my position on the issue and in fact conducted a personal investigation that turned out to be to discover a damaging transfer of rocket technology to China. Later, the Cox Commission verified our national security had been severely damaged. Now the same arguments are being made. Now, current Chinese rockets, however, have benefited from the technology they took from us and were given 15 years ago. Well, if we permit them to launch our satellites on their rockets, we will be undercutting our own rocket industry. You can kiss our aerospace industry goodbye. If our major companies like Boeing and GE start outsourcing aircraft and rocket parts to China, kiss our aerospace industry goodbye. Give them even more access to our technologies, and we will not be able to recapture the economic momentum that we need to weather our current crisis. Manufacturing, and yes, our know-how goes to China, we lose. China is and should be treated as America's adversary, both in economics and an adversary to our democratic system as well. But the move to relax our restrictions and controls on the transfer of technology to China is moving forward here in Washington, as is the proposal to launch U.S. satellites on Chinese rockets. All of this is part of a trade policy that has obviously worked against us, United States, the people of America. It's worked against us. Yet instead of being advocates of democracy to the Chinese leaders, as we were told would happen, our business people will go there and they'll interact with these Chinese leaders and they'll become more democratic. They'll learn and not to trust us and to be more benevolent. Well, instead, our business community, instead of lobbying the bad guys, is here lobbying us on these policies in order to support what? Their buddies in Beijing. Well, just as disturbing, another windfall may be handed to China as well as to other foreign competitors of the United States, as part of a so-called patent reform bill that's making its way through the legislative process. For 2 decades, those very same corporate elites, especially in the electronics industry, who have been shipping jobs to China, have been pushing hard for fundamental changes in America's patent system. Pro-inventiveness rhetoric has masked their attempt to dramatically diminish and even destroy the patent protection that has been enjoyed by Americans since the founding of our country. Well, our only chance of getting back on an upward economic path is to increase our efficiency, to produce more wealth through innovation, and to use the creative genius of our people to build the machines that will enable American workers to compete and to beat foreign adversaries. One of America's greatest assets, the bulwark of our freedom and the irreplaceable testament to the economic strength and wealth production in our country, has been a strong patent system. It's been the right of our people, specifically written into our Constitution in Article 1, Section 8, that guarantees the right of ownership to inventors for a given period of time in order to stimulate innovation and progress, and yes, lead to general prosperity. And it worked. That's why Americans have had such a high standard of living. People work hard all over the world. Hard, maybe harder than Americans, but we've had the tools and the equipment and the technology and the machines to outcompete those people throughout the world and build a standard of living of ordinary people. That's what we're proud of. Other people work hard, as I say, but we produced the wealth as never dreamed of before for normal, ordinary people because we had the tools and the machines. And when threatened, our genius saved us from foreign despotism and tyranny, from hostile ideologies like fascism and communism. Our technological superiority is even more useful today when we are in a life and death struggle with radical Islam. Not Islam in general, not the 1.5 billion Muslims on this planet who we have to reach out to just like we reach out to the people of China, but to the radical Islamicists who would hurt us, who would kill our people as they did on 9/11. Some foreigners would like to use the product of our creative genius against us. Unfortunately, there are those in the corporate elite who are willing to let that happen. The mega electronics industry has been investing huge sums of money, campaign donations, for 15 years to accomplish this insidious goal of diminishing or destroying America's patent protections. They are the last ones you'd think would be the enemies of patent protection because they are the biggest names in the electronic industry. But why should such companies do this? Why companies that appear to be based on innovation want to destroy the patent system? Because they produce products that contain multiple elements. Each one is a separate invention, whether it's a cell phone or a computer or other technology. There might be 20 elements that someone else invented, and they must use that capability in order to stay competitive, and the big boys don't want to pay royalties to the little inventors. So instead, they're negotiating an agreement that will undercut America's independent inventors, little guys, as well as other industries. It will permit these megatech multinational corporations to steal because they're going to make it legal. They're going to change the way the law works. They're going to diminish patent protection. Well, the fact that this will also enable other gangsters around the world and other people around the world to steal America's technology, just like they're trying to steal it from America's little guys, that's of no concern to them because these corporate elites also are global thinkers. Many of them, as I say, consider themselves citizens of the world. Yeah, globalists. For 15 years, they've tried time and again to ram through major, fatal changes to our patent system, and each time they've been thwarted by a small band of patriots. That's right. The patriots can still beat the big guys. We can beat the globalists. Just last week, a bill has made its way through the Senate Judiciary Committee. Chairman Leahy is looking for floor time to bring it to a vote, and once it passes, it is likely to make it through the House. The Senate's legislation will not destroy the patent system, as was the case with all of the past legislation that these mega tech industries have tried to foist upon us. But the fact is that it will undermine and diminish the current levels of protection as a compromise with these big businesses. Why should we compromise with mega tech companies that want to diminish our rights? They say they want to harmonize our laws with the rest of the world. Again, a globalist approach. No. Americans enjoy more freedom and more rights than the people of the world. If they want to harmonize their laws with us, let them increase the protection that they give to average citizens rather than diminish it. The bill is going, of course, right now, is going in the wrong direction, even though there's been compromise. It still is taking us in the wrong direction. Even though the megatech companies now, some of the major players who have been calling for this bill to be passed, actually helped mold the first bill that was passed through this House, these people are now saying they don't support the legislation. Well, we need to just say that bill, contains compromises that are not doing no favor to anybody, not the big guys, the little guys, not to American competitiveness, not to those people who are inventors, not to anybody. So we should just simply wait until next year. We can then build a strong coalition for patent protection with biotech, small and medium electronic firms, pharmaceuticals, colleges and universities, small inventors, all the people who actually are the mainspring of human progress for America. We can strengthen them by giving them more legal protection for their inventiveness. Of course, compromise is not good enough for these electronic firms, so they actually are opposing the bill too. Let us all work together then in making sure this Leahy compromise legislation does not pass, and that next year we pass a bill not for the mega tech companies that are trying to destroy the patent system, but for the American people who depend on innovation. The fight could go either way on this bill now, but let's hope that we can basically thwart their efforts, because there are people in China and overseas right now waiting for us to change their rules in order to make sure they can get the technology and steal it from the American people themselves. By the way, since 1996, these mega tech companies, these electronic companies, which have sent over thousands and thousands of jobs to China, have been sued by little guys in 730 cases of patent infringement. These mega companies, they don't want to suffer those cases. They just want to be able to take that intellectual property, even though they didn't invent it, and not pay for it, and benefit and profit from it themselves without giving royalties to the inventors.